Hey, 42 here. Isn't it incredible how a single speech has the power to change the world? In 1588, King Philip II launched an ambitious invasion of England, with the mighty Spanish Armada as his primary weapon. As many as 160 warships set sail towards England's shores with the goal of dethroning the Protestant Queen Elizabeth I. As English sailors and soldiers assembled at a camp at Tilbury in Essex, ready to take on their greatest ever foe, they were surprised when their queen came riding into the middle of the camp, wearing a velvet dress with a steel breastplate on top, showing that this woman, this Queen of England, was ready to fight beside them to defend her country if needed. Elizabeth was a female queen in an age when women were thought to be less intelligent than men, and a man was still legally allowed to beat his wife to a bloody pulp. Yet, she had the self-confidence to deliver a speech that has gone down in history beside the greats. I am come amongst you, as you see, at this time, not for my recreation and disport, but being resolved in the mists and heat of the battle to live and die amongst you all, to lay down for my God and for my kingdom and my people, my honour and my blood, even in the dust. I know I have the body of a weak and feeble woman, but I have the heart and stomach of a king, and a king of England too, and think foul scorn that Parma or Spain or any prince of Europe should dare to invade the borders of my realm. It can't be proven that the English defended their country against the Spanish any better as a result of this speech, but it certainly helped inspire confidence in thousands of soldiers, and they went on to enjoy one of England's greatest ever military victories. The Spanish were defeated decisively, and most of the mighty Armada was reduced to ruins and was forced to shipwreck along the coast of Ireland. This victory was the turning point in modern history that ended Spain's reign as global superpower and gave way for England to rule the waves and every corner of the earth in the coming centuries. Although, despite its effectiveness, Elizabeth's speech also included the following line: "I know already, for your forwardness you have deserved rewards and crowns, and we do assure you, in the word of a prince, they shall be duly paid you." Which was a total lie. Many of the English soldiers were never paid for their service and left to deal with their own mortal wounds in a ditch. So, a great speech doesn't even have to be truthful. All it need achieve is to inspire confidence in others. And you can do great things with a few well-chosen words. So then, how come so many of us are absolutely terrified of public speaking, even in front of small groups of friends or family? And what can you do to fix it and become a public speaking god? I'll let you into a little secret. Everyone is scared of public speaking. Your teacher, your doctor, Academy Award-winning actors, the Prime Minister, and yes, the President of the United States. The chemistry that gives us butterflies and stage fright before speaking is so baked into the human mind that nobody can entirely erase it from their psyche. Some have reported their fear of public speaking to be worse than their fear of death. But what is that chemistry that makes every one of us feel this way? A fear of public speaking is known as glossophobia, from the Greek glossa, meaning tongue. When you deliver a speech, there is always a fear that you will be rejected by the audience. They may laugh at you, heckle you, or even boo. You are putting yourself into a very risky and vulnerable situation. At least, that's how your brain views it. Consciously, you may know that nothing seriously bad could happen by getting up on that stage, but subconsciously, your brain will sense the potential danger because, truthfully, there is always a small risk of embarrassment or even danger when public speaking. You may say something to offend the crowd and risk public ridicule, and the more public speaking you do, the greater the risk. Every single word the president says is scrutinised, and with every speech he risks impeachment, or more likely a severe dip in polling figures. So, whether you want it or not, your brain reacts to this danger by engaging the flight or fight response. Yes, that old frustrating chestnut. This is controlled and initiated by a very primitive part of the brain called the limbic system. specifically in the amygdala. This system evolved millions of years ago to detect and react to threats in the wild. It's so primitive and hardwired into the deepest parts of our brains that we can't simply turn it off by gently telling it, "It's okay, this crowd of people won't eat me alive." Just minutes before you are due to speak, the limbic system will release epinephrine and norepinephrine in your system. This increases your awareness and focus, but these chemicals will also induce a nervous system response that tenses your muscles, increases your heart rate and breathing, and dilates your pupils. Your neck and face will blush red as the blood surges to every corner of your body in preparation for a fight. And your digestive system stops, which causes your mouth to stop producing saliva and go really dry, which is exactly what you need before projecting a speech to an auditorium. On one hand, it's a real shame that your body inflicts you with this unavoidable biological response, because the consequences of spending your entire life avoiding public speaking are debilitating. You could be actively avoiding opportunities to get a promotion, make more money, or inspire others. Not to mention the risk of missing out on that amazing feeling of immense self-satisfaction when you perfectly deliver a speech and you walk away knowing you struck a deep chord with the audience. So, how can you fix your fear of public speaking? Well, for a start, you can't fix it. For reasons I just mentioned, your fear of public speaking is a fixed biological response that no amount of practice or experience can overcome. Furthermore, you wouldn't want to remove your anxiety. Your body's response to public speaking actually helps you. It focuses your mind and prepares your body for the challenge ahead. Without this vital biological response, you wouldn't be able to perform anywhere near as well as you could when you are in the spotlight, even if you were super confident. But you can certainly do some things to manage your fear and learn to work with your body instead of letting it hold you back. One of the most important skills you can learn is self-confidence. It doesn't matter who you are, how old you are, it doesn't matter if you have a speech impediment or you're not a native English speaker. You can deliver a memorable and impactful speech. You must learn to believe 110% in yourself and what you have to say. 90% of what politicians say is bullshit, but they have such immense self-confidence that they don't care, because they believe in it themselves, and that's all that matters, at least to win the people over. Tell yourself over and over again that you can't fail. Imagine you're going for a job interview, but you already have the job. Gaining self-confidence is much easier said than done. But do you know what you can do to help achieve it? Practice. I know, practice is the answer to everything. But it really is the only way you can wrest control of your fear of public speaking. Obviously, you need to know the words of your speech like you know your own name. There's no point in even attempting a speech that isn't burned into your memory. You're setting yourself up to fail, and you're only giving yourself another unnecessary reason to be nervous. But learning the words to your speech is only the beginning of effective practice. There are a few skills that once you've mastered, even if you're only delivering the speech to your sofa, will give you the self-confidence to deliver that speech to anyone. The first is proper pacing. Practice slowing yourself down. Way down. When most people, especially nervous people, deliver a speech for the first time, they reel it off their tongue like it's leaving a bad taste in their mouth, speaking as fast as possible to hopefully get the ordeal over with sooner. But not only does this scream anxious amateur to the audience, but they will also completely zone out and not listen to a single word you're saying. Imagine if Martin Luther King Jr. spoke like this. So even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is a dream deeply rooted in the American dream. Yeah, the Lincoln Memorial Grounds would have cleared out faster than you could say Mississippi. So, slow right down, and add a few pauses now and then. They give you a chance to compose yourself and take a breath. And a well-timed pause doesn't bore the audience, quite the opposite. It holds their attention and intrigues them as to what you're going to say next. Also, work on your body language. Don't plan on going onto stage with your hands in your pockets. Instead, make your gestures big and wide. This not only makes you seem more confident and gives you more authority, but it actually gives you more self-confidence. Why do you think every politician adopts that ridiculous power pose, which makes them look like they're about to do something else on the stage? Some argue that by adopting this stance, it makes them feel more confident and thus deliver a better speech. The science is still unsure on whether this power pose actually increases confidence levels, but at the end of the day, it's a personal thing. If it works for you and makes you feel strong, then you spread those legs, goddammit. But I would just like to make a small caveat to all of this. I still think that the most important thing is to just be yourself. There's no point in focusing on how far apart your feet are and what your hands are doing if your personality isn't coming through to the audience. Because, at the end of the day, that's what will make your speech special and unique. You. But don't just practice these techniques in your bedroom. The biggest improvement in your public speaking confidence and skills will come when you start delivering speeches to strangers. A few visits to a Toastmasters or other public speaking group can transform you from a shaking leaf to a confident orator. But if after endless rehearsing and practice you still can't bring yourself to stand up in front of hundreds or thousands of people and speak aloud, then try getting pissed. You may think that's an irresponsible piece of advice, but I beg to differ. When alcohol enters your system, it blocks communication between your amygdala, the part we talked about earlier, responsible for the fight or flight, and your prefrontal cortex. When these two can no longer communicate, your brain stops appraising its own actions. In other words, it's unable to tell itself that what you're about to do is stupid and you may come to harm. On alcohol, your brain experiences less fear and less shame, and the fight or flight response is severely dampened. That's why people feel invincible when drunk and generally more confident and do stupid things. Now, I'm not advocating going on stage and delivering an important speech more trolleyed than an actual trolley, because you're going to seriously embarrass yourself. If you drink too much, you'll definitely forget your speech, and you won't be able to stand up straight, never mind speak straight. But if having just a couple of small glasses of wine before an important speech helps to remove that cliff edge of fear for you, and it is the difference between you delivering a confident speech or climbing up halfway through and breaking down in tears, then I say go for it. After all, relying on a bit of alcohol to speak publicly every few months doesn't make you an alcoholic. You're just using a readily available tool to control and dampen your body's biological response. You're not alone. A significant amount of famous actors got a little or a lot drunk before performing some of Hollywood's most memorable scenes. And one day, who knows, you may feel confident enough to speak sober. Well, that was some terribly irresponsible advice. But do you know what isn't terrible and is definitely not irresponsible? Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of classes in writing, business, public speaking, and more. Premium membership gives you unlimited access to high-quality classes on must-know topics, so you can improve your skills, unlock new opportunities, and just do the work you love. If you're ready to take your public speaking and presentation skills to the next level, then I highly recommend the Skillshare course, Presentation Essentials: How to Share Ideas That Inspire Action. Skillshare is really affordable. An annual subscription is less than $10 a month. And since Skillshare has sponsored this video, anyone can get 2 free months to try out risk-free simply by clicking my unique promo link in the description. Thank you for watching, and thanks again to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Be sure to check them out using the link below.